Welcome to MTV Bay's Choose or Lose 2014.
Mr. President, I know that being the president is very hectic. So what do you do to relax?
It is hectic, you must say it again. Very hectic. Not hectic because of the task. Because everybody is looking at you, trying to find a fault. They find fault that do not exist. They do everything. If you sneeze, they say, why does he sneeze? President must not sneeze. How to stop sneezing? I love sport. I love soccer. I grew up playing soccer. I played. I refereed. So I know the rules. That's a game I love most. But rest assured, music more than anything. When I wake up, unless there's news, I'm on music all the time. I even at times listen to the very young ones, the ones who repeat and repeat and keep on repeating. You know? And I knew you guys love them a lot. I love them too.
Who's your favorite local artist?
Well, I have to say my son. He's a great musician in my eyes. I love his music. He plays jazz violin and rock violin and all of that, so I really enjoy that.
I play music. I'm a DJ.
You serious? You used to throw parties? Do you still throw them?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a poverty-stricken somebody now. But I play music and I listen too much to house music.
Violence against women and children is destroying the foundation of our country and remains a hotly debated topic.
64,154 rapes are reported in South Africa every year. We all know that South Africa has a very high rate of crime, especially against women and children. So how does the ANC plan in stopping the rate of crime in South Africa?
Well, we are working on that one. That one is a very serious one, because once people get hooked into crime, it's a difficult thing to take them away. We have a very comprehensive program of dealing with crime at different levels. And we have been succeeding because we have seen the figures in terms of statistics going down. In South Africa, it was worse because of our history. Because of our history created unequal society so much that other people were not empowered to stand on their own, to be innovative, etc. And therefore, they depended on going for crime.
The EFF is very concerned about the levels of crime in South Africa, particularly on women, children, and grannies. What is so painful is a crime that involves grannies. The young boys who go and rape grannies. We feel very strong that those don't deserve to live amongst us. And therefore, it must be punishable. And anyone found guilty of committing such crime should go to prison forever. Because these people should know that committing a crime means one way, no return to prison. We need to train the police to love their people and to hate criminals. Because the current situation is such that police hate people and love criminals. Because when people go on a protest to ask for water, they shoot to kill them. But when there's a criminal committing violent crimes, such criminals are not shot at. Actually, they are being negotiated. Brother man, we're here to talk to you. Come here.
I would love to win a national election because then I would be in charge of the police. And I would introduce all of the special units again, and I would introduce the special corruption-busting unit, and we would do a lot of things. Police are a national government competence, and we can't fix that until we win a national election.
We believe education will impact on almost everything in society. What was the problem in the past? Why in South Africa it might look a little bit abnormal? There were people who were deprived education by law. And therefore, they were not empowered to do anything. And therefore, they will do the best they know. What was the best to know? They learn crime.
But you know, Gugu, most rapes are not committed by strangers who climb in your window at night. And most violence against women is not committed by people you don't know. most violence against women and children are committed by people known to those women and children, and often the people known most intimately to those women and children. And 80% of those cases are because the person who's assaulting them is under the influence of alcohol or drugs. 80%.
So, Mr. President, you mentioned violence against women. I think it was a question that you asked as well. What would be your advice to young men regarding that, briefly?
If you have a girlfriend, this is your friend. Why do you beat up your friend? You shouldn't be in the habit of beating up friends, really, particularly friends that are so intimate. I don't think you need to show that you are a man by beating up. Show that you're a man by loving correctly, respecting, protecting, rather than you become the danger instead of protecting your girl. So young people, please don't do it. It's wrong. You create violence where there is no violence, where there is love. It's a misunderstanding of what love is all about.
HIV/AIDS is still one of the biggest issues affecting the youth of South Africa today.
12.7% of teenagers between the ages of 15 and 19 are HIV positive. So, Helen, we realize that South Africa has a very immense problem with HIV. I mean, we have one of the largest HIV problems in the whole world. So what does the DA have in terms of their policy to address that issue?
Our policy has been very, very successful on treatment, very successful, and I support that 100%.
There is at times a feeling of people that, education about either sex or whatever was never done before. It was always done in all societies. Together with that, to organize proper kind of treatment, but also to try to simplify treatment. For an example, we have reduced too many tablets that people take into one, so that the treatment itself is not irritating, so to speak.
But only focusing on treatment is like having a tap running at full blast and trying to mop it up the whole time. You've got to get there and switch off the tap. Otherwise, you're in a never-ending cycle. We've been absolutely hopeless at stopping transmissions and stopping infections. And our policy has been a complete failure in that regard. And to bring our infections down, we have to be very honest about what causes an infection rate. And that is as simple as this. It is having multiple concurrent sexual partners and unprotected sex, and especially intergenerational sex. So when older men have sex with younger women, and then with several different partners, it is like, and you all would know this from school, geometric progression. Because if one person is having sex with a lot of people simultaneously and unprotected sex, what you're going to have is that if anybody in that network gets infected, there's a high likelihood that everybody will.
When we're in the Youth League, we believed in a very strong message that one boyfriend, one girlfriend, one wife, one husband. And personally, I still believe in that, because the spread of HIV is as a result of sleeping around. And sleeping around through unprotected sex. Alcohol is the main problem, more than dagga, actually. Alcohol is responsible for the spread of AIDS, domestic violence, everywhere else where there's problem. If you go and research, there is drinking. So we always say to the youth, no matter the difficulties you are facing, surrendering to alcohol and nyaupe is not a solution. But we need an urgent intervention to take our youth out of this crisis they are facing. Otherwise, they will go to the available option, which is the easiest. Alcohol, sell your body to the elderly men without teeth, for that matter, in exchange for money.
It's a partnership. The government has a role to play in providing condoms, but individuals have the role of preventing themselves from getting HIV positive. And if they are HIV positive, to get their treatment, to take it regularly, and to prevent anybody else getting it.
The state must give them medication. It always pains me when I hear that there are actually clinics and hospitals without ARVs.
We are actually very ambitious. We are looking at a situation that in a number of years, we should actually have zero infection in the country. We think we can, in terms of the policies that we have, in terms of the education that we are putting, in terms of making it not a big thing. Like when HIV and AIDS came, once you were detected with it, people thought I'm dead. And they stopped anything. They get the very worry exacerbated the problem. I think we've created confidence for people to say, this is another ailment. We can deal with it. There's treatment for it. So psychologically, I think the society has been positioned better than what it was before.
Let's get some views from Twitter. Now, the last time you were here, we spoke about your Twitter account. And at the time, you weren't using it. In fact, you went as far as repudiating that account and all the comments. Since then, obviously, you are using it now. So what we've done is we've gone on Twitter, we've asked some of our followers as a channel to send some questions to you.
Yeah, sure.
The first one, kind of touching on what you closed up on, is from Samgelo Ngumalo Cratch, who says, Mr. Malema, would you like to go back to the ANC?
No. I think I'm my own boss now. I mean, I can't be a principal and I'm told you are given a post of a teacher in the previous school where you used to teach and accept that. I can't. It doesn't make sense. But my grandmother wanted me, and that's the only person who's got the last word on me. He said, whatever happens, you must not go back to them, because you dare make that mistake, they will kill you.
I've been following on Twitter of all the cool stuff that the DA is doing under the hashtag that DA delivers. Yeah, so can you please tell us more about that, and can we please take a selfie after this?
Oh, sure. I'll even tweet it for you. I'm glad to hear that you're on Twitter, so am I. I get into a lot of trouble for being on Twitter.
I'm actually going to ask you about that, but that's later on.
Yeah, I've got 402,000 followers now. Oh, okay. So that's fun, and we send things out, and we correspond to each other. Sometimes people are rude to me. There are lots of trolls that are following me too. It's interesting, if you look down my timeline, you'll see that no one has to take as much abuse in South Africa as I do. Not a single person. People are so rude to me all the time. Just the other day.
That's the nature of Twitter, unfortunately. Yeah. So my question is, why would you want to subject yourself to that? You get opposition parties coming out saying things like, Helen Ziller is racist, for example.
That's just a straight lie.
But then why do you feel the need to even engage on that level? I mean, you used to be a journalist, that's the first thing. Back in the day, you spoke out against a lot of injustices. So why do you even feel the need to engage in such talk and defend yourself against something like that?
It's amazing, and it's a very good question, Sizwe. It's a very good question. We did a poll amongst South Africans, and I was amazed, absolutely devastated, in fact, to find out that almost 50% of black South Africans believe that if the DA won a national election, we would bring back apartheid. I couldn't believe it. I said, how is that possible? And it turns out that most people don't know about my history, and especially young people. Why should they? Now, we would never ever want to bring back apartheid. I spent a lot of my life fighting apartheid, in fact, all of my conscious life fighting apartheid. But we now have this wonderful constitution that defends us from all of that. And that's why it's so important for us to go and fight for our free speech. And it's a very old idea. I fundamentally disagree with what you say, but I will fight to the death for your right to say it. That's the idea of free speech.